Hello, I'm Maddie. I kind of ran away from this channel for a while. It's been 4 months since my last video. There's kind of a reason for why I ran away from it. And I mean ran away from it. But yeah, I'm back now. Normally it's like, oh, I just dropped off. No, I purposefully was avoiding this channel, wouldn't even look at it. It made me really anxious for a hot minute. I've also been vlogging for Madalada Munden, my first channel, link in the description, and everything's out of time at the moment. So on Madalada Munden, you're getting videos posted that I made in January because I am filming and editing like every few days. So I've got a backlog of videos from literally January. So you won't see anything about what I'm going to talk about today on Madalada Munden. You won't see anything that I'm going to talk about on Madalada Munden here today. You won't see that on Madalada Munden for a good few months probably, because it is March now and I'm still posting stuff from January. So if you do go over to Madalada Munden and you're a bit confused at the timelines because I'm posting stuff from January or like February, or well, January right now, or like later on, by the time you're watching this video, if you're a bit confused on the timelines, it's because I have a backlog of videos at the moment for Madalada Munden, just in case you're a little bit like, what? That is why, because I've been filming a lot of content, so I'm behind on editing and getting it out. Basically, I've been like daily vlogging a lot, and making videos, so it's been good for me though. It's been really good. And also I find that daily vlogging helps me be more productive sometimes, because it's kind of silly, but I tell myself that, like, if you say that you are going to do this to the camera, then you should do this. So that sometimes helps. Like if I say to the camera, I'm going to tidy my room, I kind of feel obligated to tidy my room. This is a little productivity thing I've been doing, for example, but I've been filming a lot. So if you're interested in like my more daily self, then Madalada Munden is where to go. If you just want to check it out, go for it. Who knows how long I'll keep up the daily vlogging, but for now I'm using my phone to film because I've got too much footage on my camera from February to film this and get this out. So yeah, and I wanted to film for this channel and I can't do that on my camera right now, really. Anyways, so I ran away from Madalada, but I'm back now. It was making me anxious posting on here because it's kind of difficult mentally to have a channel just all about my health problems and my disability and stuff. It's kind of hard sometimes. I mean, I've been talking about it on Madalada Munden, but that isn't the sole focus of that channel, you know. That the sole focus isn't about my body and my health and personal things. I can talk about that on that channel, and I do talk about that on that channel, but it's not the sole purpose of the channel. Like, I can talk fun and have fun and show like hair dyeing videos and dogs and my life, and it's not just one strict subject, it's moi. So if that makes any sense, it's harder to film a channel just based off of my health. But I am back. For how long, who knows, but I'm back on this channel because I had my first therapy appointment today, and I'm not going to go into detail of my therapy because I don't think that's very helpful to me, to be honest, to explain my entire therapy session to the internet. I don't know, I just don't want to do that. But I will tell you the general basis of what happened, the level that I feel comfortable explaining to you guys. But basically, I've been waiting for a year for therapy, and I've been on a waiting list for a long time, basically, like a year, maybe. About a year, I want to say. So that's been rough. Anyways, so the other day I got a phone call when I got back from my driving lesson saying like that they have an appointment for me, So I rang them up and they were like, is tomorrow okay? And I was like, wow. Luckily tomorrow was okay, and I've like made sure I have arrangements to make sure nothing gets in the way of my therapy slot now. So I have the same therapy slot every week now, and I'm going to have 15 to 16 sessions dependent on if I abide by attendance, if I am getting help from it, if all these factors basically. But the main ones was attendance and if it's actually helpful to me. So I am now doing therapy, CBT therapy. But this is where it gets interesting, because I don't feel like a lot of people know this about therapy. So, well, my therapy at least. So I am doing CBT, and that is basically like tools to help you. It's talking as well. I talked a lot today, but I mainly talked because it was the introduction and talked about different stuff. And because it's been a year, they basically wanted an update on how I'm doing mentally and for the reasons I applied to the therapy in the first place. And my therapist actually has special training in long-term conditions. So because I've got cerebral palsy and fibromyalgia and reproductive issues and all this stuff that goes on with my body, right? I am constantly in chronic pain, in chronic fatigue, dealing with something to do with my physical body. She has extra special training on like long-term conditions and how that can affect you mentally. So that's really helpful, because she understands that my mental health can be impacted by the fact that my body can be difficult to deal with, if that makes sense. So she was picked especially for me. She's been really helpful. We did a basic overview of like why I'd applied to therapy basically, and the main reason was because of anxiety and depression. But this is where it gets interesting, and I feel like a lot of people don't know this. So, at least in my therapy. So, my therapist wants to tackle one problem at a time, because there's studies to show that trying to tackle anxiety and depression at the same time is not that helpful. You got to pick one and focus. And she always said you can come back and focus on the other problem, but pick one to be the main focus. So which one was impacting my life more? And that was a really hard question, because I have really severe anxiety and really severe depression. Like they are very high up on the exact same scale, you know. They are both awful, you know. So when she asked me that, I was really struggling with what to say, like which one do I pick, which one do I focus on, because they both have been giving me grief every day of my life, and they both make me struggle, and they are both really hard to deal with. So that was a really hard question for me, and it took me a while to figure out. But in the end, we went with that we're going to focus on my depression, because my anxiety, although it is very overwhelming, I constantly overthink, I'm constantly stressed out, I'm constantly worrying, I struggle to sleep because I worry so much. I am a very, very, very incredibly anxious person, so I really struggle with my anxiety. I've been getting panic attacks lately. I've been really struggling with it, and I have my whole life, to be honest. I've been a very anxious human my whole life, but that being said, my anxiety is less of a threat to me than my depression is. And actually, my anxiety keeps me safe sometimes, whereas my depression is just a risk, and my depression is the dangerous one out of the two. Because my anxiety, although it's overwhelming and a lot to deal with, it will keep me safe at times. And it doesn't do anything, well, I don't want to say it doesn't do anything bad. It is bad, like struggling and worrying and stressing and panic attacks and physical symptoms. That is all bad. But the thoughts I get when I'm anxious are like more about avoiding and withholding from stuff, and like it's more safe than my depression, which is a lot darker and a lot more risky, if that makes sense. The depression is the risky one. The anxiety is just overwhelming. So that is why I am down the depression path for CBT. Although that doesn't mean that I'm going to just automatically abandon the fact I have anxiety. Like, that's not what's going to happen. But I get really bad mood swings, and I get a lot of stuff to do with my emotions. So going for the depression pathway makes the most sense for me. But I didn't know that going into therapy. I didn't know that, like, I thought they'd just focus on both. I didn't realise that you have to pick one or the other. So that was a really hard question for me. So if you are going to be doing CBT soon, just keep in mind that they might not, but they will probably ask you which one, especially if you have anxiety and depression, they'll probably ask you which one do we deal with first, and go for what works for you. Don't just be like, I saw Madalada's video, so depression. Like, obviously go for the one that suits you. But yeah, I just want to talk about it because I was originally doing the group therapy like a year ago, I swear, something like that. And then I got put on a waiting list for ages, and the group therapy was okay, but also the skills they wanted me to use wasn't really helping in the end, because it was a lot of like logging stuff, and then looking back on the stuff just made me feel worse about myself, because I'm like, wow, I'm doing fuck all. But no, or wow, I'm dealing with a lot. But no, with this one, it's just me and a therapist. It's not just listening to a PowerPoint. It's me and a therapist talking, and we talked for an hour, and it was really helpful actually. And yeah, it was actually really helpful today, which shocked me because I always roll my eyes at therapy. Okay, I don't always roll my eyes at therapy. I know it works for some people, but I mean, I roll my eyes at me doing therapy because I'm like, if I wanted to talk about my problems, I could just talk about my problems. But with this one, it's not just talking, it's also I'm going to be hopefully developing emotional tools to deal with how I'm feeling. So, hopefully that goes well. But I wanted to make this video because I kind of want to document it a little bit without obviously being like, right, this is all the shit I discussed in therapy. I don't want to do that, obviously. But it was actually alright, to be fair. It was actually kind of helpful, and I actually had a realization about my anxiety, and my anxiety being like an overbearing friend that's wrapping me in bubble wrap and doesn't realize it's hurting me, whereas my depression is like the friend that's sticking its foot out and waiting for me to trip. That's kind of how I see it. Yeah, it was good. I'm looking forward to next week, my therapy next week, my CBT. But yeah, it was also hard though, not gonna lie. As much as I'm saying it was good and great and whatever, it was alright, but it was also emotionally hard. Obviously, therapy, it's a bit hard emotionally, believe it or not, but yeah, hopefully next week will go well. I just wanted to kind of document my therapy journey like I was doing before, because I didn't really think I was going to be the type to be like going to therapy, because I was like, well, if I wanted to talk about it, I'd talk about it with my friends, blah 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 blah. But you know, it was actually really helpful. So if you are considering therapy, give it a go, you know, is my opinion. Give it a go and see if it helps you. But yeah, that was my first CBT session. And also it was great timing actually, because I went to the doctors and they wanted me to do private therapy, and ouch to the bank account when I looked it up. But then it's almost as if the universe knew. It was like, you need therapy? Here's the one that you tried to do a year ago. So hopefully that helps, because I told the doctors it wasn't helpful because the group therapy one wasn't really helpful. It was just presentations and PowerPoints, and I was like, okay. And they felt rushed. They felt really rushed through the group ones, whereas this was nice because it was just me and a therapist talking. So hopefully it will be worth the wait. But yeah, that's how today went. Oh, and I forgot to mention real quick, I also get homework, so you get given homework as well to work on. It's not just, I get one session a week, but I also get homework to do. Almost forgot to mention that, in case you guys were also wondering. You get homework in therapy as well. Home study, they call it. But yeah. Anyways, that's a basic overview of how my therapy went. Thank you for watching. If you are considering doing therapy yourself, I mean, my best advice is give it a go. The waiting lists suck, I'm sorry, if you're doing it through public, I guess. They suck and I'm sorry. But give it a go and see if it's the pathway for you, because normally they recommend you do like therapy before any other pathway. And also, actually, the service I'm with did offer referrals for different stuff, so that was also really helpful. But yeah, my advice is give it a go before you roll your eyes, because I was the type to not even try it and roll my eyes, but give it a go, and I'll keep you updated on how I'm doing with therapy, obviously within my own personal boundaries and what I want to talk about. But yeah, thank you for watching. Subscribe if you want to, and hopefully see you soon. Bye.